The Enchantress Returns, Chapter 20, The Reflection. "Let me get this straight," the magic harp said. "You're on a quest, collecting the most prized possessions of the most hated people in the world to build a powerful wand that you hope will overthrow the Enchantress. And I happen to be one of those possessions?" Connor shrugged. "That's right," he said, "although it sounds lame when you say it like that." It took Jack, Froggy, and Connor to move the harp of solid gold into the lower deck of the Granny. Once they got her there, the men and the women of the ship surrounded her and told her about all their missions and her newly discovered relevance to it. "I don't understand. How am I supposed to be part of that wand?" the harp asked, and gestured to the ice scepter Goldilocks had been showing her moments before. Froggy had to agree. "I don't see how you fit into this either," he said. "You're awfully big to be a part of a wand." "I beg your pardon?" the harp snapped at him. "My apologies," Froggy said. "I just meant everything else has been small material items. We've yet to have, well, whatever it is that you are." "Whatever it is I am?" the harp said. "That's rich coming from a giant frogman." Froggy took a step back and bowed out of the conversation completely. "What if we, cut off one of her fingers or something?" Connor suggested. "What?" the harp yelled. "Connor, that's so barbaric," Alex said and hit him in the shoulder. "Why would you even mention such a thing?" "It was only an idea," he said. "But what would happen if she came in contact with the wand?" Goldilocks asked. "Will she shrink? Will the wand blend into her somehow? Would she die?" The harp went berserk and desperately tried to jump out of the ship, but she was too heavy to lift herself. "Harper, calm down," Jack said to the overly excited instrument. "No one is going to harm you." "But I'm still your prisoner, aren't I?" the harp said. The strings on her back played the opening chords to a dramatic ballad. "Right when it teased me, the cruel world deceived me. No hope now for freedom, no stars now to wish upon. Born for imprisonment am I, can't be free until I die." "Enough, Harper," Goldilocks said. "You're not our prisoner. We're just going to keep you around for a while until we can figure out what to do. Then you'll be free to live your exciting life of watching grass grow and entertaining people against their will." The harp squinted at Goldilocks and raised a golden eyebrow. "So you're the girl Jack ran off with, eh?" she said. "No wonder he can't be seen with you in public. I wouldn't want to be either." The twins both made oohing sounds. Jack and Froggy had to hold Goldilocks back. A high-pitched laugh erupted from Red's mouth, and she slapped the side of her leg. "You know, I think having Harper around my castle won't be such a bad thing after all," she said. That evening, at sundown, they fired up the Granny's flame and steered the ship northeast. Their next stop would be the ruins of the old abandoned castle for the evil queen's magic mirror. Alex and Connor slept most of the way. The journey up and down the beanstalk had taken a toll on them, and they were so tired they slept through most of Red's sleep-talking and the harp's self-pitying songs. The twins woke just before sunrise the next day and made their way to the upper deck. Red was already there when they arrived. She was cradling Claudius again, and the young wolf slept soundly in her arms. "Reunited?" Connor asked her, and she nodded happily. "I had a nice long think to myself," Red explained. "If it weren't for Claudius, a giant man-eating cat would be wreaking havoc on my kingdom right now. He's not a killer after all. On the contrary, he is a savior." "So the fact that he's a wolf doesn't bother you anymore?" Alex asked. She didn't speak Red fluently yet. "Not at all," Red said. "What kind of mother would I be if I let something as simple as species get in the way of love? I'm courting a giant frog, after all. I'll just raise Claudius to be a loving and compassionate animal. If a wolf has never been capable of possessing such qualities before, then Claudius will be the first. But if he tries eating me, Mama's getting a new coat." They appeased her with fake agreeing smiles and left her with her pet. The twins went to the front of the ship and looked at the ground below. What they saw horrified them. The entire Eastern Kingdom has been devoured by thorn bushes and vines. The plants wrapped around every building below. Even though they had been told about it countless times, Alex and Connor could have never imagined what they were seeing. "It's just like the fox said in the dwarf forest," Alex said. "The entire kingdom is covered." "I don't think I realized just how powerful the Enchantress was until now," Connor said with a gulp. "Seeing this really raises the stakes, doesn't it?" The thorn bushes and vines began to thin out the farther northeast the Granny traveled. The overgrown terrain was replaced with the dry, deserted land the region was known for, and soon the ruins of the old abandoned castle could be seen in the distance. What had once been an imposing structure was just a massive pile of stone bricks and pieces of wood now. Jax, Goldilocks, Froggy, and Red joined the twins at the front of the ship and shivered. It was like seeing the remains of a large monster they had killed, but instead of a carcass, they felt as if they were nearing its sleeping body. Something about the castle still seemed very much alive. The granny landed gently beside the moat. "How much of the mirror do we need to gather?" Connor asked the others. "Do we just need a piece of it or the whole thing?" "It's going to take a while to retrieve every piece of it, if that's the case," Alex said. Goldilocks removed the wand from under her coat, where she stashed it for safekeeping. "We'll keep the wand with us," she said. The 6 travelers headed out of the granny and towards the destroyed castle. "The Enchantress lived here once," Alex said. "You don't think there's any part of her lingering, do you?" Connor took a look around at the dead land surrounding them. "I don't think there's any life lingering around here whatsoever," Connor said. "We're all just spooked because of what happened here a year ago. There isn't anything in that dump except a bunch of broken castle junk." One by one, Froggy helped the others across the moat. Once they were on the other side, they came to a halt and stared at the rubble in dismay. "How do we get in?" Connor asked. No one had an answer. There didn't appear to be a practical way of getting inside the ruins. They circled the rubble for a few minutes looking. "Over here!" Red called out. "I found a way in!" The others ran to her, and she pointed to a small opening between 2 stone blocks that led deeper into the debris. Froggy attempted to crawl through it. "We won't fit," he said. "It's too narrow." "The twins will," Goldilocks said. "You want us to go in there alone?" Alex asked. It may be the only way," Jack said, looking around the rubble. "I don't see another option." The twins shared an anxious glance. Goldilocks placed her hand on their shoulders. "We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you two," she said. "You said it yourself. There's nothing to be worried about. Go inside and try to collect as much of the magic mirror as possible. We'll be right outside. Take this with you." Goldilocks handed Connor the wand. He let it hang from the belt loop of his jeans. "We're all counting on you," Red said, and then retrieved dirty looks from the others. "I mean, you can do it!" "Be careful, children," Froggy said. "Try not to move anything while you're in there. The stones have settled, but you don't want them caving in any more." Froggy seemed so concerned the twins didn't even mind being referred to as children. Alex and Connor stepped up to the opening and gently squeezed through the stones, scraping their sides as they went. Inside it was like an obstacle course made of debris. The twins carefully climbed over and under and through broken pieces of wood and stone. Everywhere they looked was a broken piece of the castle that triggered a not-so-happy memory of their last visit. A wooden beam, a cell door, a stair railing, an occasional smashed chair or table. They climbed farther into the endless wreckage and soon entered a large clearing. They assumed they had reached what used to be the castle's great hall, the place they had seen the magic mirror shatter. "Alex, this whole place is covered in glass," Connor said. "How do we know which pieces of glass came from what?" Everywhere they looked, they saw shards of glass. It was scattered across the ground and all over the mounds of rubble around them. Some fragments were bigger than others, and the twins could see the reflection in them, but it was impossible to determine which parts were the magic mirror and which were the windows or something else. "Look!" Alex said and picked up a small piece. "It's a piece of the Mirror of Truth." She happily stared into the small piece, and the little reflection she could see of herself changed. Alex in the reflection wore a long golden gown and had a pair of enormous sparkly wings behind her back. "Let me see," Connor said and looked into the piece of glass in his sister's hand. His reflection also changed. The Connor in the reflection was wearing a golden suit and had a giant pair of shimmering wings behind him. Connor stuck his tongue out. "Gross! Put that thing away," he said. Alex tucked it into her pocket safely. She figured she might need a reminder of who she was in the days to come. "How are we going to sort through all of this?" Alex asked. Connor pulled the wand out of his belt loop. He held it into the air, and a series of small scraping sounds came from all around the wreckage. Little by little, pieces of glass inched closer to the wand, pulled magnetically by a magical force. "I think I have an idea," Connor said. He placed the wand in the center of the ground and quickly pulled Alex behind a large piece of wood. They watched as tiny bits of glass flew from all over the debris and attached themselves to the wand until it looked as if it were covered in silver sequins. "Amazing," Connor said and went to pick up the wand. "It almost looks futuristic, doesn't it?" Suddenly, the twins were both hit with an unsettling feeling. They both felt it at the same time, and each turned to the other, knowing it was mutual. "Connor, do you feel that?" Alex asked. "Yeah, what's going on?" he said. I feel like someone's watching us, Alex said. Connor looked around at the rubble. How could anything be in here but us? He asked. Something began moving around them through the piles of rubble. They kept catching it in their peripheral vision, but it would disappear before they could get a proper look. Connor, look into the glass, Alex panted. Gracefully gliding around them in a large piece of glass among the debris was the reflection of a young woman. She was pretty and wore a long white gown and had long raven hair. The reflection playfully circled them, giggling to herself as it did. Alex and Connor felt like they were in a reverse aquarium where they were the ones on display. Hello, the reflection said and smiled. The woman's voice was smooth and inviting, and it echoed from each piece of glass she moved through. Who are you? There was something incredibly familiar about her. The twins were positive they had seen her before. I'm Alex, and this is my brother Connor, Alex said, and took a step closer to her. The reflection shot across the other side and appeared in the glass behind the twins. Such funny names, the reflection said. Have you seen Myra? Connor grabbed Alex's arm. Oh my God, Alex, He's always hiding from me, the reflection said and twirled around inside the pieces of the mirror. Myra, oh Myra, where are you? It settled in a large shard of glass, and Alex stepped closer to it. Evely, is that you? She asked the reflection. It instantly looked up her at the sound of the name. How do you know my name? Evely asked with a big, curious smile. Have we met before? As soon as she asked, her curious expression faded, and she began to recognize them as well. Yes, we have, Connor said. Last year in this castle. Alex looked around at the castle remains, and a horrible thought came to her. You've been trapped in the mirror this entire time, haven't you? Alex asked her. Have you seen Myra? Evely asked, as if she hadn't heard Alex. I can't find him anywhere. Alex felt her heart drop into the pit of her stomach. She's been trapped, and it's starting to affect her just like it affected Myra, she whispered back to her brother. Myra, where are you? Evely said musically, floating through the glass around the room. Myra's dead, Evely, Alex said. Don't you remember? You tried freeing him with the wishing spell, but it was too late. Evely looked to Alex and just stared at her, as if she was deciding whether or not to believe it. She began circling them more frantically. Myra, it's not funny anymore. Please come out now, Evely asked, her voice growing more desperate by the second. Where are you? It was hard for the twins to watch. Evely wasn't just in denial, she was cursed. Evely, do you remember anything that happened to you? Alex asked her. Do you remember the magic mirror? Do you remember Snow White? Do you remember being the evil queen? Evely's eyes grew, and she gasped at the sound of her old sobriquet. Evely stuttered. Her reflection gradually aged and transformed into that of the evil queen the twins had known, as the memories of who she was and what she had done resurfaced in her mind. I remember, the evil queen said, and her eyes filled with tears. I remember everything. Oh no, what have I done? How did I get here? We tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen to us, Connor said. The mirror fell on top of you and you vanished. There was nothing we could do. Tears rolled down the evil queen's face, and her mind filled with more memories of her heartless life. I was such a monster, she sobbed. The evil queen collapsed with grief, and her reflection appeared in pieces of glass near the ground. I poisoned my own daughter. I harmed innocent people. I kidnapped children. Alex kneeled down to her. She wished she could reach her through the glass to console her. But it wasn't your fault, she said. You had your heart cut out and turned into stone. Remember, you didn't know what you were doing. The evil queen nodded. I was in so much pain. I didn't know what else to do, she said. Pain will drive you mad if it's strong enough. It'll change you into something you're not. It'll turn you evil. We know, Alex said, but that's all in the past now. You must forgive me, children, the evil queen begged. Forgiveness is what we all need to forget the past, even if we don't deserve to. Alex and Connor nodded to her, willing to do anything they could that would give her consolation. Of course, Alex said. We forgive you. The evil queen smiled at them through the tears of shame. Thank you, she said. I'm afraid I'll never forgive myself, though. I spent my entire life trying to free him from this prison, and now I'm doomed to spend eternity in here without him. I couldn't think of a worse punishment. We could try to free you if you'd like, Connor said. We're building a wand, a powerful wand. Maybe we could use it to get you out of here. The evil queen dried her tears and shook her head. No, let me be, she said. I deserve this fate. I've deserved to be inside here. Her head tilted and she stared at the twins as if someone was whispering something about them in her ear. You're on a quest, aren't you? She asked them. Yes, how did you know? Alex asked. I can see many things from inside here, she explained. I can reflect on the world in ways I could never before. I see a large ship waiting outside these castle ruins. I see a kingdom imprisoned by plants. I see a whole world in fear. I see Esmia. The evil queen shuddered at the thought of her former mistress. How could this be? I thought she was dead. You didn't kill her like you thought, Alex said, sorry to break the news to her. And now she's back and she's taking over the world, Connor said. The evil queen covered her mouth. Oh no. I made the poison as strong as possible. I killed life outside the castle for miles, but even that wasn't strong enough, evidently. Connor kneeled down next to his sister. We're trying to stop her. We need to know what her most prized possession was in order to do so. Would you happen to know what that might be? The reflection thought on it. Esmia's most prized possession was always herself. And I don't need magic insight to tell you that. Oh boy, Connor said. That's going to be difficult to retrieve. The evil queen grew very still as another troubling realization came to her. Someone is following you. In here? Connor asked. No. Cross the land as you travel. Who, the Enchantress? Alex asked. The evil queen looked off into the distance as if she was trying to see something far away. No, it's neither a person nor a thing, but an entity. The ghost, Connor said. We've been wondering what her deal is. Can you tell us who she is? They call her the Lady of the East. The twins were stunned to learn the ghost's name. They tried to remember if they had ever heard of the Lady of the East before. The East? Connor said. Every time I've seen her, she has always pointed to the east. That's what she's pointing at through my window in Red's castle, and that's the direction she pointed to when we were on the ship. You must leave now, the evil queen told them. The Enchantress grows stronger as we speak. She plans on attacking again very soon. You must hurry if you want to defeat her before it's too late. But, Alex started, but the queen's reflection turned away from them. I'm afraid I can't help you anymore, children, the evil queen said. I feel myself fading away more and more as every second passes. Wait, please, you have to tell us more. Who is the Lady of the East and why is she following us? Alex pleaded. Where's Esmia going to attack next? Connor asked, but the evil queen ignored them. Hello, can you hear me? The evil queen turned to them, but her reflection had morphed back into that of a happy and smiling Evely. Have either of you seen Myra? Evely asked with a laugh. I can't find him anywhere. Alex and Connor sighed hopelessly. They knew they had gotten as much information out of her reflection as possible. They didn't want to leave Evely there, but they knew it wouldn't be long before the curse of the magic mirror took over her soul completely, just as it had Myra's. Goodbye, Evely, Alex said sadly. The twins headed out of the castle ruins as Evely continued her never-ending search for her long-lost love. Myra! Oh, Myra, where have you gone?